At the beginning of the story, we see a powerful man, Finist, and his apprentice, Andy. At this moment, they are heading into the forest to catch a huge wild boar that has been destroying the villagers' crops. The villagers were very fed up with it. Even in front of this dangerous animal, Finist wasn't afraid. He told Andy that everyone considers him a hero. If he didn't tame this boar, what respect would he have left? He picked up his weapon and attacked the boar. But these small attacks had no effect on it. To help Finist, Andy also attacked the boar with his weapon. However, his weapon struck the boar's nose, waking it up from its slumber. Now the boar got angry and charged towards Andy. But at that moment, Finist stepped in front of him to stop it. He put all his strength into it but couldn't stop this powerful animal. With just a little push, the boar sent Finist flying into the air, and ultimately he landed on top of the boar. To tame the boar, Andy threw a rope toward Finist. As soon as Finist grabbed the rope, the boar started flying in the air. Finist tied the rope around both of the boar's wings and its horns, bringing it under his control, and then he started flying it as he pleased. Soon, he flew it back to the village. When the villagers saw that Finist was controlling such a huge animal with ease, everyone started cheering and chanting his name. Among these people, there was also a sorceress named Baba Yaga. She told Finist that if he was really as powerful as he seemed, he should prove it. In front of her house, there was a huge stone blocking the water. She challenged Finist to move the stone. Finist replied that he had faced much greater troubles, and now the sorceress was giving him this small challenge. He began telling stories of his bravery. Yaga said that she wouldn't believe it until she saw it with her own eyes. Hearing this, everyone laughed. Finist, angry, went back to his house. He was furious at Yaga, because instead of praising his bravery, now people were making fun of him. He wanted to prove his strength in front of everyone so that people would once again admire him. Andy suggested that there was a way. There was a tower ahead where it was believed a monster had imprisoned a very beautiful girl who was a princess. If Finist could defeat the monster and free the princess, his name would be famous all over the world. Finist decided that he would definitely fight this monster. As night fell, Finist and Andy set off toward the tower. Upon reaching there, he saw that some warriors had already come to defeat the monster, but they weren't there to become famous. They wanted to save the princess and marry her. They asked Finist that if they together defeated the monster, who would the princess belong to? Finist replied that he didn't want the princess. He was only there to make a name for himself. Separately, Finist told Andy that he wanted to fight the monster alone. Therefore, he wouldn't wait for the morning. Saying this, he entered the tower through a window. Inside, Finist found the beautiful princess. She asked him, "Have you also come here to die?" Finist replied that "I have come to save you." Hearing this, the girl ran further inside. To stop her, Finist grabbed her hand. The princess freed her hand and ran behind a pillar. At that moment, a snake attacked Finist from behind. Finist started fighting the snake. Then he realized that this was no ordinary snake. It was the tail of the monster he had come to fight. Seeing this, he first launched multiple attacks on the monster, but when none of his strikes worked, Finist grabbed the monster's tail, its snake-like mouth, with his hands and tried with all his strength to tear it apart. However, as soon as Finist opened its mouth with his hands, the snake spat into his eyes. Now Finist could no longer see. He had gone blind. Even in blindness, Finist did not give up. He felt around with his feet and found his weapon. He attacked the monster again, but this time the monster vanished. Finist struck so many blows that the tower began to collapse. The noise of the crumbling tower awoke all the warriors. They came near the falling debris from the tower. Neither the princess nor the monster were visible to them. All they could see was Finist buried under the rubble, slowly getting up. When Andy realized that Finist had lost his eyesight, he took him home. Finist was furious after losing his sight. He became very irritable. Andy couldn't handle his mood, so he went to Baba Yaga for help. He told her everything that had happened to Finist, but Baba Yaga flatly refused to help, saying that when she had been in trouble, Finist hadn't helped her either. When Finist found out about this, he became very sad. Time passed this way. Andy also stopped visiting Finist. Finist struggled with all his daily tasks. He would go out to buy food and drinks, but children would steal his fruits. Soon, his money ran out. One day, Andy came to finish his house, but Finist angrily told him that he had no work for him. Go do something else. Hearing this, Andy left. Over time, Finist spent all his money. The day came when he had to eat rotten fruits from the market. One day when he couldn't even find rotten fruits,
He sat in the market with his basket. Baba Yaga was passing by and noticed him. She put some food from her basket in to finish his basket. Before they could speak, a group of robbers attacked the village. They started killing the villagers. Finist couldn't see them, but he could hear everything clearly, the screams and cries of the people. When the robbers approached him, he attacked them by following the sounds. Despite being blind, he fought 2 or 3 robbers at once using only the guidance of their noises. One of the robbers threw a rope at Finist. He caught the rope, pulled the robber off his horse, and then dragged him closer, giving him a severe beating. But some other robbers attacked him from behind, and he was knocked unconscious. When he regained consciousness, he found himself on a ship. His neck and hands were tied to a wooden frame. On this ship were Baba Yaga and many villagers. Then we saw Andy was also there, freely moving around on the ship.
Baba Yaga asked, "How are you roaming freely?" Andy replied, "I convinced these robbers that I am on their side. I will help them, and at the same time, I will keep an eye on the villagers for them." At this moment, Andy had a golden lamp that he had stolen from the robbers. He said he would sell the lamp and make a lot of money. As soon as Andy rubbed and cleaned the lamp, a genie appeared from it. Everyone was startled to see it. Even Andy, hearing the noise from below, attracted a robber who came there. But the genie threw this robber up into the air. When the genie went to Andy to ask for his wish, Andy said, "Go back into the lamp." And the genie returned inside the lamp. From above, another robber came and held a sword to Andy's throat, taking the lamp back from him. Shortly after the ship reached Arabia, all the villagers brought from the village were lined up to be sold as slaves. A masked man appeared and bought Finist, Baba Yaga and Andy. He took them to his palace. Upon arrival, everyone was amazed at the sheer size of the palace. Robots were working inside, even though this was a very old era. Then the man removed his mask and said, "Don't be surprised, I am a scientist and I built all these robots." He explained that he had also created many machines to make human work easier. Finist told the man his story, how he had once been a very powerful warrior and after losing his eyesight, his life had become miserable. The scientist said, "I have heard about you and Baba Yaga." This man had a habit of freeing slaves he bought. When it was time to eat, the scientist ordered food through his robots. Everyone was extremely impressed, thinking it was magic. But the scientist explained, "This is not magic. I have been working on this for 500 years. Hearing this, Yaga was astonished and asked, "How have you stayed young for 500 years? The scientist replied, "I had created a chemical that keeps people young forever." He then took the 3 of them to his lab. Upon arrival, Finist asked, "How did you create this chemical? And can it restore my eyesight?" The scientist replied, "It can't do that, but I have another thing." He gave Finist a pair of glasses, and through them, Finist could see everything again. The scientist believed that science could achieve anything and those who use magic harm the world. To eliminate such harmful forces, he had created a machine. To demonstrate its power, he took out the lamp he had bought from the robbers. Yaga warned this could be dangerous, but the scientist didn't stop. He rubbed the lamp and the genie appeared. He activated his machine, which pulled the genie inside. And then he said, "See, my invention has destroyed the genie." That same night, the scientist discovered that a monster on a nearby mountain was harming ordinary people. When Finist learned that this monster had a lion-like mouth and a snake-like tail, he immediately realized it was the same monster that had caused his blindness. Finist told the scientist, "I will come with you. I want revenge on that monster." The scientist, however, didn't want to put Finist's life at risk. Finist replied, "You have helped me, so I will help you too." After that, the scientist gave Finist a gadget which, if placed near the monster, would trap it automatically. That night, Baba Yaga sneaked into the scientist's lab. She wanted to drink the chemical so she could stay young forever as well. But the scientist caught her and said, "If you all succeed in capturing the monster, I will give you a small portion of the chemical myself." The next day, when everyone was ready to leave, the scientist showed them his spaceship, which would allow them to reach their destination very quickly. He taught them how to operate it. Before they departed, the scientist said, "I want the monster alive." He had also upgraded Finist's weapon. Now it had a button that could perform feats that a normal weapon could never do. They boarded the flying saucer and began their journey. Soon they arrived at the mountain where the monster resided. After searching for quite some time, Finist finally found the monster's footprints. The tracks led into a cave. Finist placed the scientist machine outside the cave. He knew he didn't have to kill the monster, only capture it. So he entered the cave calmly, challenged the monster with his weapon, and then came back out. As he stepped outside, his head hit a tree and he fell unconscious. The monster also emerged from the cave. Before it could harm Finist, Baba Yaga quickly activated the machine. Chains shot out from the machine and pulled the monster inside. Then Baba Yaga pressed the lever again and the machine stopped. Soon Finist regained consciousness, and now everyone began their journey back together. The journey was long, so they decided to rest midway through the night. During the night, Finist heard a girl's voice coming from a cage. He began opening it. Baba Yaga tried to stop him, but he didn't listen. When the cage opened, it revealed the same princess he had met inside the tower. Baba Yaga said, "This means this princess is actually the monster." She warned that letting her out could be very dangerous.
But Finist wasn't willing to listen. He had fallen for the princess. As he reached out his hand to her, Baba Yaga pushed him and closed the cage. The princess explained, "The reason I didn't hold your hand is because I am under a curse. If any man touches me, I will turn into a monster. But I am not evil. I won't harm anyone unless attacked first, so no one will get hurt because of me. I live here alone in the mountains, but humans don't even let me live here in peace." After this, we saw that the scientist had stolen a farmer's cat. The farmer begged him, saying, "This cat doesn't harm anyone. In fact, it's helpful. At night, it emits light and illuminates the surroundings." But the scientist ignored the farmer's pleas. The scientist placed the cat under his machine. This machine could draw out the magical powers of anything, and it absorbed the cat's magic as well. Then, using magic, it transformed the cat into a chemical, which the scientist stored in his vault. The scientist already had many chemicals collected there. Meanwhile, the princess and Finist had fallen in love with each other. Baba Yaga and Andy captured the two and began taking them to the scientist. When they arrived at the scientist's palace, they watched him from a distance. They saw that the scientist had drawn all the magic from a magical bird and put the resulting chemical into his robots. This meant that these robots were not powered by science, but by magic. He was extracting all these chemicals from all magical sources. Enraged, Baba Yaga confronted him. She said, "You are a liar. These robots are not inventions. They are magically powered puppets. This means your long life is also due to magic, the magic you gained by killing innocent animals." Hearing this, the scientist got angry and said, "Whoever learns my truth does not survive." After that, Baba Yaga and Andy fled in fear. Baba Yaga freed Finist and the princess as well, because she realized that the scientist would do the same to the princess. The princess revealed that she knew the scientist. He had been after her for a long time. Just then, the scientist arrived. He gathered all his robots to make sure no one could escape, and he began extracting the magic from the princess into his machine. Finist tried to save her, but he was tied up. He couldn't free her, but he grabbed the princess's hand so she could transform into a monster. Once transformed, the princess broke her chains and escaped. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Baba Yaga and Finist also escaped, but the scientist's men pursued them. Baba Yaga used her magic to fight back. She threw watermelon seeds at them, which suddenly turned into watermelons. The scientist then deployed his large robot. He could not let Finist and Baba Yaga escape because they knew his secret. Andy tried to reason with the scientist, saying they had enough magical chemicals, but the scientist didn't listen. When the giant turtle robot emerged, the entire palace began to collapse. The scientist entered the turtle robot and chased Finist and Yaga with Andy. He began firing cannonballs at them. Finist told Yaga, "Distract it while I climb on top and try to flip it over. Once this giant turtle is overturned, it won't be able to right itself." As the robot approached Yaga, the machine attached to it began to draw out her magic, making her look extremely old. Finist felt great pity for her. But while Yaga was distracting the scientist, Finist climbed on top of the turtle. Seeing this, the scientist spread the robot's arms to try to throw Finist off. Finist didn't fall, but his glasses were knocked off and he lost his sight again. As soon as Baba Yaga saw this, she began helping Finist. She guided him how to fight and where to move. In the meantime, the princess, now transformed into a monster, arrived at the scene. Seeing her, the scientist became terrified. Meanwhile, Finist tied a chain around the turtle's neck and began flipping it over. As a result, all the magical chemicals inside the turtle spilled to the ground.
The scientist tried to escape using his magical wings, but they failed and he fell into the magical chemicals below, dying instantly. Finist, exhausted, also collapsed from fatigue. The princess saw him lying there and began crying, worried that something had happened to him. She had truly fallen in love with Finist. As her tears fell into Finist's eyes, he suddenly regained consciousness. At the same time, his vision returned. Finist expressed his love to her and promised to stay with the princess forever. But the princess said, "Because of my curse, I cannot stay with you." Finist felt sad and returned to the village with his remaining companions. However, he remained lost in thoughts of the princess. Later, when Baba Yaga was searching for a way to regain her youth again, she also discovered a way to break the princess's curse. Overjoyed, she went to Finist and shared the good news with him. She explained that the curse had been deliberately placed on the princess. It was not entirely her fault. Their next mission would be to remove the princess's curse. However, this part will probably be shown in the next movie, which hasn't been released yet. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.